says I'm live, but there we go.
Sweet.
Yes! Oh, wait a minute. I have to do my ritual. It's a ritual, you know? It's my
Oh,
ginger.
yeah.
Yep. Let's see. Usually it takes a minute for a couple guys to come in. My thing is, you'd normally be here, but you're here.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you don't need to do a thing, put it in the chat, do you?
So what?
That I'm live right now. No, not there. So what we do is I go into the chat in the Fk8 TD chat.
Oh, okay.
Right. So
Okay.
I let the guys know. Yo, what's up, Andy? Just trying to get everybody in here. Six. Wow, man, that was a quick topic. 6 people came jumping right in.
Yeah.
Saturday Night Live. I love the comments, man. Juan, we gotta finish your car up. How's it doing, man? Because I know you're saying you just want to make sure everything's all right. Is the car good, ready to go? I hope it is. I really hope you got that problem fixed. So, wait, I gotta copy the thing, and man, everybody just bumped right in for today.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I get for being the last time, missing out. So, all right. Awesome, man. Awesome. That's fantastic. Because I know you said you were having a problem. You were concerned about which ones. Wait a minute. Freaking lost today.
No leaks.
Yeah,
That's
no,
good.
he had an issue, and he said he had a really bad air pocket. And it was like, so I really hope that everything's A-okay. Just so you know, if you didn't have to disassemble it, you can retorque ARP studs because they are not a technical torque to yield. If you want, you can always go back and retorque them.
Oh,
That's
Lord,
mean. Oh, you guys are bad, man. You guys
There you
always
go.
ripping on each other, always picking on each other, but in good fun.
Yeah, I didn't know ARP studs could be retorqued till I met him. I thought they were also yield. So.
No.
Yeah.
The only time I wouldn't really do a retorque is on like a rod.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do a
I wouldn't
retorque on
either.
a rod because then you worry about the bearings. The retorque on the head, that happens many times. I just wouldn't go above the original torque spec. He says slow.
Uh-oh.
Oh, man. So this topic kind of came up because one here, we're talking about Logan and about the idea of cams and simplicity and tuning simplicity. So let's get right out the gate that a ported head is far easier to tune than cams. That's simply because the VE doesn't really change except for adding, unless you go so big. And by the way, somebody's doing much better.
Yeah, he's back to normal.
Come here, Bobby. Come on up.
There we go.
We are all right. See, he's back. Oh, yeah. Okay, buddy. I love you, but no tongue.
Oh, okay. Andy said you can be me and run at the track with a blown gasket on. Send it.
Send it. Oh, either that or we can blow a dipstick out on a brand new motor every run. When do cars do that? I will, though, say I did blow up the PCV in my valve cover, though. I did.
No, I almost blew.
That's moving, man.
I almost blew my motor at the track.
Yeah. Guy's gonna bury himself. All right, go ahead,
Okay,
Logan.
so-
bury yourself. Tell him what you did if
So,
you want
we
to.
went to the track last night down here, and
It's an 1/8 mile,
We-
no prep kind of thing.
yeah, like not prepped at all. And he saw a Type S. He's like, "Hey, you want to run a stock brand new Type S? Why not?" And I didn't think that it was all-wheel drive automatic. First off, he launched better because I'm kind of like, don't want to dump my clutch, don't want to hurt anything. So I was delayed, thinking too much. He's pulling ahead. First is spinning, wheel hopping like crazy. I hit second, it's going fine. Try to hit third, goes right back in the first. And I saw 8,000 RPM, but no codes.
It's fine.
Didn't spin a
It's
bearing.
fine.
There's no piss in the valve contact, but
It's fine.
I was like,
Oh
money
my
shift
God.
will never happen to me, but
So
I wish
we don't
there was-
know. We
yeah.
don't want to. We don't know if we want to call them brake boost or money shift.
Yeah. because I thought I bent the rod brake boosting, but my
There's a
coil
bad
went out.
coil that
Yeah.
filled with water in there.
Because right after I brake boosted, it started misfiring under boost, and actually went into our chat, and the guys were like, "Oh, that could be a bent rod. It's a lot of resistance on the brakes if the rod's hesitant."
Yeah, right.
So,
You'll always know. You'll know. So like a one. So the thing is, the Type R, due to the sloppy bushings, man, you can easily money shift.
yeah, I've got stock bushings and too much power.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's the problem with it. But yeah, I have. So I wait when I first got the car before I got the bushings. Probably about 6 months in, I did it once, but it was a 343. I never did a 121.
I've actually done that too, but it was not on the rev limiter.
So ported head versus cams. What do we want to do here? What is the advantage? So I will say cams do give you the advantage of you can drop them in. However, let's kind of put this in a little bit of perspective. The stock head flows around 160 CFM on an Fk8. And Andy, you poor effing soul, your head, the actual Accord head is even worse. So, what do you say? Time for acuity bushings and D10 springs.
I need to get on that. I really do.
So, so what was I just saying? Oh man, I got lost. I was like reading the thing.
We're talking about ported head.
Oh yeah, ported head.
Cams, like cams, the topic. Yeah.
So the disadvantage, obviously, for us is we're dealing with the stock camshaft. So, and he mentioned that a minute ago about the code, and we're dealing with the ported head. The disadvantage is the aftermarket cams all have a solid reluctor. So that just simply means that on the end of the camshaft, the pickup that the sensor reads, it's actually part of the camshaft. Any of the aftermarket cams. So the advantage there is that it won't shift. But in reality, the money shift doesn't necessarily cause that cam issue. It's more of hitting the rev limit and the cam doing this and like chattering. So anti-lag and constantly smashing a rev limit can give you that code. And the higher the RPM, the more the effect is. But the ported head in a reference, and the nice thing is I've been able to get some real data on this, is that on the ported head, you're going to make more power per pound of boost than cams ever will in that scenario. So to put this in perfect perspective, I would say this is a perfect example. When I actually did mine, the ported head, the first time I ever did a ported head on the Fk8 was on mine, and I made on the stock head, I made 549 on 33 and a half pounds of boost. Now this dyno was a ball breaker. It was same exact setup though, same injectors, 500cc of methanol injection, and 30 psi with a peak blip of 31 made 614. Now the problem is work, guys. And the other thing is putting the car back to stock. So, and it's more application specific. So what am I saying by this? So if we got cams, what if you want to rev higher and you don't want all that torque? Cams is kind of a better way to go because the stock cams roll over at like 7,500. So that is where, as long as you have enough exhaust housing on an Fk8. Now, Andy would be better experienced to say, because he's in a stick shift Accord, where does the power roll over in an Accord? That is actually my question to you, because I've always done automatic Accords. I've tuned like 2 stick shift Accords and they didn't have enough fuel. So what, Andy, in your experience, what do you see as far as where the power rolls off? I'm very curious because
I've never actually thought about that.
Can we run methanol injection without getting a custom tune just for cooling purposes? Absolutely. You need to keep it 500cc, but you're going to have to, is the absolute max. And it really depends on if your base map, if the math scaling is right, if it's wrong, and you got too much negative trim, it'll flood. So you could run 500cc, but that's kind of like pushing that edge without a custom tune. So you just got to be careful you don't flood the motor, and don't spray a lot down low. Make a nice big sweep of the actual methanol coming in.
Yeah.
So
ramp it in slow.
Yeah. Actually, interesting fact on cams. So here's one that I found out afterwards, and I was told this, and maybe this is true, and I've heard of people doing this. The Civic Si, the 1.5T versus the Accord 1.5T. I heard, and again, I don't know how true this is, but I heard that the Accord 1.5T exhaust cam is bigger. So the HPSI max spray 14 for math. Yeah. Well, Andy, so forgive me for not remembering, where does your power kind of roll off? Like, where is your limit? Where does your power keep climbing, or does it roll off? Because the Fk8, if you have enough turbo, it just won't roll off. It'll just keep going to 7,800.
Yeah, I'm doing 76.
Yes. Yeah. You know what? Don't let me forget his file tomorrow.
Davis.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't let me
All
forget,
right.
man, because
Yeah.
I've got to get him his file.
Yeah.
So I got all his info, but
Right.
I got to get him his file.
Yeah, my car did 90 on the 8th too. So.
Oh yeah. By the way, he was on 93, and he did 90 miles an hour on the eighth mile.
Yeah, not even on E50 stock motor, just 2000.
That's pretty.
Yeah.
That's pretty stout.
Yeah.
You know, you'd be trapping
And that
probably $110, $115. No, more than that.
Probably.
More than that. You mean, yeah. And mind you, he's never in this car in a quarter mile ever.
No.
Ever. This is first for him. Total
Yeah.
first or eighth mile. Eighth
Yeah,
mile.
or starting fast from a dig. I always do rolls like 40, 50,
Yeah.
60.
Well, he did good though, man, guys. He rolled the clutch out, didn't blow it up.
Yeah, I saw the Type S pulling away being an automatic all-wheel drive. Well, he got off better on the line, so I was looking at him too much instead of focusing on third. But the second run was the clean one where I did 90, so the car's fine. So
yeah, when I told him
Thankfully.
just you take your time, man. You just try to rush the shift, and it just let it happen, man.
Yeah.
And that's when you just let the shift happen, you're gonna be quicker, man.
oh,
So.
yeah.
So, what dogs do I send you back? How do you need them done? Oh, so we'll do third gears. Yeah, that'd be great, Andy. That'd be great to kind of see how your graph was, because, like I said, the automatics, you're just kind of stuck in that range. Davis, we're gonna do. I have to go look at your. Again, usually we do a third gear 2,500 to red line. So depending on your setup, what defines the red line. So that's generally. Is he over here again?
Yeah,
He's saying hello again.
Yeah.
Hi.
it's everywhere.
You're happy again. All happy.
Yeah.
Good boy.
I think we missed the one where he said it's okay. One money shifts all the time. That's why he's built now.
Oh,
that's terrible.
Yeah, I didn't catch that. That's
I just saw that. I was.
yeah. Oh, and here's an interesting little tidbit, and this may help some of you guys that are manuals. I switched over to Torco GSO, and thank you, man. Appreciate it. Let me check this out.
Yeah, I gotta switch over because honestly, the whole synchro mesh, the Amsoil synchro mesh, has only helped so much with mine.
So
I
he's
didn't
got
really
it
notice-
in mile per hour.
Okay, I didn't notice much of a difference switching to it. I still get the second gear grind. Sometimes third does it.
Dude, that's a lot of torque, Andy.
Yeah, that's
a
definitely
lot of torque,
That's
bro.
a spicy torque curve. I can tell looking at the graph.
Oh God, man, that's dangerous, bro. What's wrong with you? Oh my God,
There's torque. Oh my God.
that's asking for it, bro.
478.
Your poor head gasket, man.
478 and 78. Oh my gosh.
Bro.
It's at an RPM. Wait, is that third gear?
Well, man. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. And
78
speaking of,
and
you know
third.
what? Actually, speaking of head gaskets, when we're talking about ported head versus
Yeah.
cams and head gaskets, a ported head will actually be more forgiving. And I'm going to tell you why a ported head is going to be more forgiving than cams, because the ported head has a much higher, basically ignition range. So with a ported head, he
That's
told
why
him
I
to
blew
send
the
it.
gasket. Oh yeah, that's the guy that said Andy's the one that said he runs it at the track. He ran it at the track with a little gasket.
Yeah, he did. He
Oh
did.
my
He did.
gosh.
Yeah. Then,
But yeah, the ported head being easier.
yeah,
on
because
head
it's
gasket.
it's easier on a head gasket simply because of the fact that you're not, one, creating as much heat all the time, and two, the ignition timing range is much more forgiving. So when you have like the stock head on E50, you might get 21 degrees of timing in it, right? But if you just port the head on the stock cam, you can get up to 30 degrees of timing. And get this, guys, you're gonna love this. On Q16, on TR2 cams, I went all the way out. You guys, I went to send it. Send it was another statement. 33 degrees of timing, and I did not see any knock. However, that's a different story on TO3 cams.
That's a lot of timing.
It didn't do anything though, man. It didn't make any more power past like 28 degrees.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Nice, man. Nice. So, JE Pro Seal. Oh yeah. So inline pro studs. So, all right, that's yeah. Well, another thing is like when you're dealing, there is a downside, okay, downside-ish to a ported head. Turbo control becomes very difficult at low boost. And that's simply because you're making so much more cylinder pressure at a lower boost level that the exhaust coming out is much higher velocity. So, and you're eating up more fuel. So trying to run a lower boost just becomes really hard. And that is something that has become a very like difficult thing. I will say there's a lot of different people porting cylinder heads, but I think there's really a sweet spot in porting the cylinder heads. And I showed Logan the areas of where I ported on that head that I got in there, and there's not a lot of room left, guys.
No, it's
massive. It's a massive. It's about as big as I'd say you could go before the head is just uselessly dead.
Yeah. I
mean, the head, you'd be really surprised. You're switching meth controllers to
frostbite.
I never seen that.
I've never even heard of it. I'm just familiar with AEM, to be honest.
See, I don't know if you can. So Andy, you know what'd be really neat if you did what I did with like the tier 3 cam cable, right? I know you're on ethanol, but if you don't care to run flex fuel and you don't mind, what just happened?
Oh, email popped up.
Oh, email. Okay. I was like, what is going on here? Oh, it's like a split second controller. Interesting. So it reads RPM along with boost. Interesting. There's a controller, and I was trying to figure out how they were doing it. And it's by Snow Performance, and they said it works off the high pressure fuel sensor signal. And I'm trying to figure out how the hell are you going to get an RPM signal from that? But that's what they were saying, and I just couldn't agree with that. So there was one by Snow Performance that said that they could do something similar to that.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if the pressure goes up as RPM goes up, and I'm sure it.
So that is the big disadvantage of ported head, though. If you don't have enough fuel and you're trying to control boost, and you're on like Honda or K-Tuner, that son of a gun is going to close the throttle plate to try to control boost. So I actually, here's one thing I'm not 100% sure though on the Accord, if you can open it more than 8mm. I can't remember. I honestly can't remember.
Yeah, the FK8s were limited to 8
millimeter.
Right? Yeah, which really, when you think about it, it's not much at all. I mean,
no, it's not. It's small. So like a standard wastegate is, I think it's around 14mm. Standard wastegate movement range.
I've seen it somewhere where it goes up to 14. I think it was on Borg Warner's site for like internally wastegated turbos. They had it was like up to 14 and a minimum of 6, and we're like down there at 8.
Well, because the EFRs, they say they have all this wastegate flow, but if you look at the V-band, they just took a T3 flange and they cut the end off and put a V-band there.
Oh, okay.
Looking to get race valves too to make it 100% port fuel system, but for methanol. Not sure if I even want to over. What does doing cams only versus ported head only make?
There's
the
question.
I was waiting for somebody to sit there and ask that. I didn't want to just throw it out there. So, the best reference I can give you is 2 different turbos, though. One's a much smaller turbo. One's a much bigger turbo. On my G25 660, my smaller turbo, on a ported head on 30 pounds, I made 614. Okay. On a G3770 on 32 pounds with TR2 cams on a valve train, made 620. Now, the bigger turbo is a huge advantage. I'm going to say that in the cams, your power gain per pound of boost is around 50 horsepower. That would be an approximation of a good, legit scenario. Maybe 70, and that would be if you already had a ported head. And it really is kind of turbo specific and fuel capability specific. Now, I could have made more than what I did, but I was afraid to blow up my little 660 at the time, making 614 wheel on it, and the wastegate was still open. Now, however, the G3770 with that, the wastegate was pretty close, and the turbo was like, yeah, I've had just about enough. And at the time, I also didn't throw all the ignition timing in it. So I'm going to say a ported head, honestly, guys, is worth about 80 wheel horsepower, and cams are worth about 50. So, and it's really, you will not make, so here's the best way to put this. I would not make the same power on 7.5, 8 pounds less boost on cams. That will not happen. It takes about 30 psi to make 518, 31 psi to make 31 or 32 psi to make 518 on the dyno I was on just DI. On 22 pounds, I made 520. So that is a 9 pound of boost difference. So ported head will win hands down every time.
37 pounds.
Yeah, he's done. Oh yeah, MHI 2 is. I need to move to a bigger turbo. Yeah, dude,
37 pounds. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, okay, so but you know what, Andy, if you just port the head, use the same turbo. Now, there's another misconception. I kind of want to go over this because somebody mentioned this earlier. We were talking about overspinning a turbo. Wait, is there a massive difference between only ported head or cams with ported head? So the cams so here's a misconception that cams will multiply the amount when you add them into the head, and they almost kind of don't. So I would say 25 pounds on a ported head probably would have made, if it would have made 550, because 26.5 made 574. Okay. So it would have made around 550. If you had added cams on top of that, I don't think it would have made 600 on that turbo, because I have the bigger TR3 cams now, and 25 pounds is what makes 600. So I would honestly say cams are, maybe a little less, 50 wheel horsepower, 50. Yeah. It depends on the turbo, and if you can get into that range where that turbo is happy, getting into that sweet spot. Wish you could ship to Australia. I need your port. I can do it. Okay. I can do it, but it costs me an arm and a leg, and it's very difficult. But if you really want me to, man, I can do it, man. But it's special request only. Yeah, well, that's another thing. Andy makes a good point. So the difference between TR2 and TR3 cams, although we're talking about almost 15 degrees more duration on the intake, another 9 on the exhaust, and basically almost 3/4 of an inch of lift, which is a lot. It's a lot. Yeah. It's a lot of lift. It's not a huge gain. And cams do kind of get to a point where they'll make it power everywhere, and then they start to shift the power band. So like a TR2 cam is really good at making more power everywhere. A ported head is exactly the same because our heads are so restrictive. If the cylinder head wasn't so restrictive, it wouldn't make power everywhere. So, but I really do notice the TR3 cams do this. And it's very obvious in the Motec because the volumetric efficiency is way down. I mean, way down. So like a VE table at idle is like 75. I'm at 36 at idle. That is less than half at idle for fuel command. So yeah, it's a big difference with TR3 versus TR2s. There's only a slight change. So cams also, you gotta make a choice. You know, some people are like, oh, I love the TR3s, but to be honest with you, the TR2s just give you power everywhere, like a ported head. And I really think the ultimate match is TR2s and a ported head. That is just, I like the TR3s, but I really think the TR2s were just like the it, man. It was just wildly good. They're great, responsive. They drive great. You can only, and with a ported head, you know, you kind of don't destroy the drivability. A ported head really just kind of keeps the car the same, but just makes more power everywhere. Unless you go so damn big, you know, you can go too big.
I like that one too.
What?
Sebastian's question. I know we're.
A maximum between ported head cams with ported head. Yeah. Well, it kind of just adds a little bit more, you know, like, so you might make 45, 50 with cams, but then ported head and cams, you might make another 60. Yeah. It doesn't become exponential.
Right.
It just doesn't. It just for, you know, it's part of the equation of the cylinder head just being so restrictive in the first place. It's like the biggest choke point on the car, you know.
Never seen the ports Honda had done.
No. I didn't. I never even. That's yeah.
I didn't know that Honda had worked on port. I mean, it makes sense, but I've never even heard of it. That's interesting. Of course, we've all heard of 4-piston.
Can if the turbo is maxed out and you ported ahead with cams, can you make more power or do you destroy the turbo? Now, here's an interesting point. Okay, you can't. Loki, what are you doing? Come on, dude.
He's zooming. He's zooming.
All right, cool.
Tire.
Oh, you found your tire and you feel better. Oh, God, you look so much better, man.
Yeah.
Oh, you're so bad. All right. So, yes, you can destroy the turbo. However, Sebastian, what you're going to do is you're going to lower the boost a lot and you're going to make a lot less heat and you will make more power on the same turbo.
On the same boost level.
Right. Well, way more on the same boost level, but you can destroy the turbo. You can, but you can make more power on that same turbo. And I'll kind of explain. You will put more load on it. It's a misconception about always overspinning a turbo. And just take a vacuum cleaner and put your hand over the end. A ported head is like putting your hand over the, non-ported head is like putting your hand over the end of the vacuum cleaner. It's so restrictive. And it just spins really fast. And the thing is, when you take your hand off and you allow the air to come in, it spins down. But the load goes up on the vacuum, the output. And it's the same thing with the turbo. So what happens, a lot of people blow the wheel apart, not because they overspin it, because they overload it. And the load on the compressor wheel causes it to want to push into the turbo and wobble. But the ported head, just a lot less heat output, and you can make more power on a lower boost and still keep your turbo alive.
It was a shop that did CNC heads.
Testing.
Okay.
That'd have been nice to see something like that, but I think with the EPA with them, I think that's why they didn't follow through with that. Yeah. Doug's really big on trying to keep in with EPA.
As open as possible. Just staying out of trouble because the EPA does crack down.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. There is one thing I'm not sure about on the automatics, and I still need to test on an automatic Accord. I need an automatic Accord on Honda. I need to see if there's something I can skew in the charts to give it more boost in the mid-range. So, and I just want you guys to know, man, they said, and you know what I want to say, that somebody from this area sent a head out to them, and that was Stevie Wonder ported, and sent back, and they literally wrote, oh, pound FK7 TD.
Really?
And wait, there's more. So, with that being said, I have never actually ported a local person head.
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah.
I've actually only done for people out of this state.
Yeah.
So I believe they call that slander.
And
But I just want people to know that that is a complete farce. And honestly, I'm saying this calmly now, but honestly, I swear to God, I was fucking screaming earlier because I was so mad. Because if I'm actually going to do something wrong, I'm going to say, yeah, I did it. I was wrong. But I will never. Oh, I don't even want to get into it. I just don't want to get into it. That just kills me, man. Just don't. If I did you wrong somehow, okay, cool. Tell me and like, okay, if I really did you wrong, cool. You know, I'll apologize. But damn, man, that really bugged me. But so
same full race stopping turbo kit. Yeah, and like PRL stopping the and everybody stopping.
See, I don't understand. They stopped the turbo kit production, but it was something to do with. I asked them is about manufacturing. They just don't want to be doing manufacturing anymore. It was something along the
It
lines
might be
of that.
something with cost.
It's probably cost
Yeah.
effectiveness, and their turbo kits, their price ranges are a lot lower.
Yeah.
So I think it had to do with that,
Profit.
and the profit margin, and that everybody was buying Rampage turbo
Yeah,
kits.
but he's mentioning that it is true. Like the whole catless downpipe thing, all that got pulled.
Yeah,
a year or two ago, and
yeah.
PRL recently pulled their catted downpipe off too. So I think it feels even high flow cats. I mean,
Yeah, it's kind of,
it'll pass a visual, but if like a tailpipe inspection, it's like no.
if you have unethanol, okay, and you have a high flow cat, you're gonna pass.
Oh yeah, that's
You're gonna pass because ethanol has no NOx, no nitrous oxide, and low emissions. And if you really want to pass an emissions test, just put some X98 in there and see you later.
I never thought about that actually.
Yeah.
98%.
Put some X98 in there. You can just drive around on it. It don't matter if you got way too much of it in there.
Yeah.
The guy might want to like literally try to drink your fuel because it smells so good. But hey,
is this alcohol?
God.
Yeah, I never thought about it either. I like it, but or you could tape $100 bills to your exhaust.
I mean, come on. All you gotta do is just start your car on a lot of ethanol, and you're like, and stand there versus just starting it on gas. You get choked out. Yeah, see, I don't either. And that's kind of like people, why don't I move to Florida or California? Florida will be all right, but California, like, why don't you move to California? Oh, there's a lot. Oh, there's a lot. Well, wait a minute. There's more than one reason I won't move there. I'll end up going to jail. Getting in trouble.
Yeah.
I'll get in trouble because I just won't be able to take it.
Yeah.
I'll just be too upset, man.
Yeah, but California, you can't. Like, California's even got some law where you can't. Because my old boss used to live there. He has a thing. He likes to build dirt bikes. Couldn't do it in his garage. You can't. Well, legally he couldn't. He'd still do it. But it got to the point where like the HOA was reporting him and stuff. So he started doing it in his living room because for some reason, working on your car in the garage, all the risk of fluid spilling and getting into the environment.
God, that's HOAs, but anyway.
Yeah. The PLM catless correct.
You're lucky, Thomas.
Yeah, I've heard of that issue.
Yeah, they're pretty thin. They're pretty thin. Oh, dang. I got mosquitoed up when I took him out before.
Yeah, it's
He's
bad.
just chewing on that tire.
Yeah, he's going to town on it.
Yeah, he definitely lost some weight too.
Yeah, it's not bad, but
No,
yeah,
I was. Oh man, what a scare, man! That was just horrifying, man. This is a rough week, man. So finally, though, that motor's done. Thank God. Oh, thank God that motor's finally finished. I finally got all the right parts. No,
that's going to be a saucy little setup again. Like he said, I did TR2 cams on head he ported on his step deck GE sleeves, right? Golden Eagle step deck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
step deck
Boost
GE
line
Pro
rods.
Seal. Mm-hmm.
So that's a setup. We can take 1,000.
I can't wait to see what.
Oh yeah, New York's bad too. They tried giving me an exhaust ticket. I won in court versus New York. Oh yeah, out of state. There you go.
Yeah,
New York's bad too.
What's funny is my car is not that loud with the exhaust.
Yeah, his is like the NVIDIA exhaust. It's funny. I haven't even told you this actually, because he drove it around in the lot at the track, and that NVIDIA exhaust sounds kind of fart can-ish from the inside. I mean, not really, but it sounds even better, deeper from the outside. Like I've even had people tell me I've never heard a Type R sound like that. And I've got the 4-inch catless downpipe too. So
I love how people ask me, is it restriction? Does 843 horsepower tell you?
Yeah. 3-inch piping is plenty, but it's got no bottlenecks. And, no 2.5-inch flange bottlenecks.
Oh, that's another thing I should mention about the ported head and the cams.
Yeah.
If you have some sort of bottleneck, it's gonna show its ugly face. So like the blue car, I hate to say Alex's car, the blue car, the one at JSR. When I first tuned that car, it was a ported head, but it wouldn't take more than 18 degrees of timing. And I'm not sure what the bottleneck was on that end, but when they went to a G30 kit, I was like, all of a sudden, this thing wanted 30 degrees of timing. I'm like, what on earth? And he just kept telling me, I was like, bro, this is too much timing. We were at like 22, and I'm like, bro, this is a lot of timing. And he's like, oh, just throw it at it. And he's like, I'll just, in his words, and I quote, if it blows, I'll rebuild it.
Okay.
That's what he said.
Wow,
if it
dude.
blows, I'll rebuild it. That was always his famous words. If it blows, I'll rebuild it. If it blows, I'll swap
It's
it.
kind of like hold my beer and watch it.
Hold my beer and watch this?
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. Hold my ginger ale and watch this?
Oh, yeah. Close enough. It's ale, not alcoholic. But.
Yeah, I know the state tickets, man. The state tickets, that can definitely, yeah.
Loud exhaust, they don't really mess with a lot in Virginia. The cops there can be a bit of a pain. Like if you're speeding in Virginia, they come down pretty hard.
Yeah, so
the
Andy with the exhaust, they don't have a lot of good exhaust for the Accord.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. I saw my stock turbo to an Accord guy, met halfway from where he lived, about an hour drive, and he was telling me, he's like, man, I wish they had more like overall aftermarket support for the Accord, and same with the exhaust. He's like, I like this exhaust, but it's not like a big 3-inch like what you guys on the Fk8 have. It was like a 2.5, I think. I think it was a Borla or so. I can't remember.
You know, I want to actually touch on a topic before we kind of get in there. The drivability. That's another thing. The TR3 cams.
Oh yeah, I
let him drive the car.
Oh my god, it's nowhere near as fun. Like you guys want, and I got a buddy.
Like the responsiveness. Tell them about the low end responsiveness or the lack of.
It's practically non-existent. But the other thing, he's got the twin disc clutch in there. That thing's an on-off switch. He's got PPG gears, so you got a taller first. He has a fatter tire than I do, and what else? Yeah, ported head TR3, making it lazier down low. Mainly the TR3s though. What's the other thing? Shoot. Oh yeah, Motec on the car now when I drove it. It's got the improved throttle response.
Right, it's better on the Motec, but it was way worse on the Honda.
Oh yeah, it's compared to my car, which is still stock motor, so stock cams had got an RV6 R660, but it's not so massive that it doesn't build boost down low. Stock trans, stock clutch, it's night and day. It really is.
My car feels like it's not even the same vehicle.
No,
it doesn't. Because I drove his car and I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah, he could not.
I was like, where does this clutch engage? Does it ever engage?
Yeah.
And I'm like, where is it?
Yeah.
Where is it? It's like all the way up there. I'm like, where the fuck is the
A
clutch?
725 twin disc, you come out a little bit, and then if you move it like more than that,
if you move it more than this much, it's like, ugh.
Yeah, but the stock clutch, you got like, well, here's my hand, you got like that much play in it. You can actually feel it.
No, not mine. You got the width of a set of earbud cases before it's fully engaged.
And I got my buddy.
And I don't have a stock master. I have a modified master.
Right.
So that's something. But the drivability, though, I will say though, like here's the thing I can also say. I can say that TR2 cams improve turbo spool. They do. They can improve turbo spool. How come one hasn't tried mixing my two, for example, TR2 with TR3?
Hold on.
That's a good one.
So tried mix and matching Apple TR2 intake. You know what? I've never thought about that. I like that. I like that a lot.
Well, so that would be kind of like the bigger motors that do a lot more exhaust as far as duration.
Right.
But they'll do a similar lift, but more exhaust. It would be nice to see. I would love to see like a TR 2.5. I would love to see basically a larger duration exhaust, but not a bigger lift. Because my VTEC crossover on the TR3 cams, you're going to love this. 7,000 RPM.
Did somebody say NA90s B series?
Like, for
Seriously.
real.
But that was 68 on those, and he's here $7,000.
7,000 RPM. And I literally had the cams, bro. The overlap. It was ridiculous. And I messed with everything. And I turned around, I had on the dyno, and I had this little blip down, and then I just kept moving it up, and it just kept filling up this gap.
The cams I have sitting for the cord are slightly bigger than the TR2.
Mm.
Oh, he's got an
So my concern with that is what I ran into, Andy, and this is another thing with cams and the tuning, is because you do have the MAF signal. However, in the background, you have a VE table that's there all the time. And the problem is when they start, if you get too big of a cam, when they try to take those two tables to make the one fuel result, because the car actually blends those tables, and well, at least the Type R does. I'm not 100% on the Accord if it blends those tables. You may run into what I ran into, where when you run a MAF on a TR2 cam and you go to a high enough boost, and it's more prevalent with a ported head, where it wants to yank fuel because it suddenly goes rich, and then suddenly, boom, floods again. And no matter what you do, it repeatedly does it. So I hope that maybe you can do something with K-Tuner or whatever software you want to run, where you can lock it in a certain mode, so that and part of that, so that this way you can prevent it from pulling from both sources and making a mixed signal. And that's what the EC was doing. It was literally arguing with itself. And as soon as I went to a no MAF tune, all that went away. It all went away. It disappeared. And that's what gave me the information to tell me that it was just the base VE background table that's in the background that you really can't adjust. You can finagle it with some settings, but you can't really adjust. And yeah, but you know what? It's truly certain codes can be turned off, but I'm just concerned about that mixing of the two charts, or mixing the one instead of chart with the MAF signal reference for fuel and your VE chart. So, and the codes, yeah, you'll definitely need to get them turned off. My other concern is I don't know how much you can do with the cam timing on the Accord. I can tell you that on the intake side, really didn't have the adjustability I liked. You really need full adjustability of the cams, not just at certain points. You need every chart available for the cams. And there is, I think in the Honda, there's like 8 of them, and there's like limits. And what you can do is you can finagle the limit on those charts to force it to behave a certain way. So that's what I forgot to tell you. That's what I figured out with the Honda one. You can literally finagle it and force it because it's got a cam timing limit table, and you can put it to a low number.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, see, yeah, he was going to do that. And hey, Bobby, hello. He was going to do that. So, but a couple more minutes, I got to cut it short, man. And then, unfortunately, it's a short live. It's a good one tonight, too, though,
yeah.
man. Oh, man, I wish you could do this more often.
Oh, yeah.
But I really,
the modified fuel load, like what the 1.5 SI, the whole cam swap in that fuel kit just for the bigger load.
right,
Yeah, that
right.
Honda
And I can get those injectors, too. I really wish. So, Andy, I've talked to XDI about injectors for the Accord, and believe me, I want them to be able to be supported, man. But I don't remember. I told you about that other one. So hopefully you'll be able to try those and see what happens. And I understand your venture too, man. I know that this is a lot of money, and I see him shelling it out. And I give you credit, man, because when you're a one-man show, it's not easy. So, but I'm no Superman either, man. I get my ass whooped and I'm tired sometimes. So, I ain't no Superman. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see, man. I never tried them. I will tell you, just remember, just don't keep the pressure too high, you know. But it is a Denso. which is the OEM's Adenso. So, yeah, man, I really hope that worked. I will tell you, told you, I ran a different version. It was a lower version, a non-modified version, and they ran in the car just fine, but they made the same power as stock. So it's literally equal to stock modified, doing that. So, and I know he can have pressure adjusted. I hope that works, man. Yeah, the thing is, though, man, I ran out of money, and all the injector testing ever done at JSR, I paid for. I paid for all of it. If you had to start a 400 wheel horsepower build from the beginning, would you ever need a port or cam anything? No, you would not. I would just do what I would do is just E30 and throw methanol at it, or just E30
for 400 wheel. That's like full bolt on with the flex fuel kit.
Yeah. Andy, I hope you're right. I hope they do have something in the works, man. And I've kind of poked at them a few times, like, hey, man, let's do this. Let's do this.
Yeah, he's talking like the guy that bought my stock turbo. Like, yeah, more fuel stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I know there's a lot of guys out there wanting it.
Well, anyway, without E-Mix, yeah. Because you can make like 3.7. So go full bolt on with a nice Mishimoto intercooler, NVIDIA exhaust, catless downpipe.
Yeah.
Beer oil intake's fine. You need an inlet though, and then throw some methanol at it.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
California 91. Oh yeah.
Blech! He's right. Blech!
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, 5 more minutes. I'll give you guys 5 more minutes. I'm having a good time.
Yeah, me too. This is fun.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Honestly, I think at that point, so here's without the E-Mix, it's gonna be you're gonna need a methanol relay, and we're gonna need to throw like 1,000 cc of methanol at it.
Oh yeah.
It's funny because I know that. Loki, please tell me you don't have to go to the bathroom.
He might.
I hope his tummy's not going the other direction again.
I've got the Mishimoto intake.
And Honda. Yeah, man. So 1,000 cc of met, and you gotta use. I wouldn't use the relay. I have the harness. It's a little bit more money, but there's way more control with the harness on the methanol, and my harness install is a lot easier. It's plug and play. So I say plug and play, but you got to change the settings. That's something that you do have to do is change the settings. But basically, instead of having a relay just trigger, it can literally do a tapered fuel by boost.
400 wheel on 93, hell yeah.
Well, you can, but not on stock turbo. You can make 400 wheel on 90, but not on stock turbo.
And not stock fuel system either.
Yeah. Well, no, upgraded turbo stock fuel system. Yes, you can.
Never mind. No.
Pick one or the other. They're both readily available. Would you go ethanol or methanol? Davis, here's the question for you. You asked about ethanol and methanol. If I choose one or the other, they're both readily available.
Yeah, like you have ethanol near you where you don't have to
Do I have enough fuel system for whatever? Yeah, Andy's right. Both.
Yeah. Yeah. And my car is pushing like upper 4s on 93.
Okay, so here's where I stand on this. If you have enough fuel, I'm going to say ethanol. Consistency is a little bit easier. Control's a little bit easier. However, methanol's freaking cheap, and it lasts. It lasts. So I would say, if you're trying to save money, methanol all day long. Just the next DI high pressure fuel pump. I just go. Well, are you Davis? Forgive me, man. Do you have stock turbo? I can't remember, dude. Right now, I got so many cars to deal with. Sorry, man. I know I got the email. I would probably just say try to go ethanol, just because the control is easier.
I think it's just easier around.
Yeah.
I'm in Perth. Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're close.
Oh yeah. I do want to visit Australia one day.
Whoa.
I do want to go down under.
What?
That's what they call it. Down
I
under.
know, I'm messing with you, man. I'm like,
didn't
wait a
say
minute.
down.
You want? He's like, I want to go down under.
I do.
What?
Somebody said something. Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what
there we
she
go.
said.
It's funny because it came to mind. I'm like, I hope he doesn't say something.
What?
But he
And
did.
what's on
Yeah.
mine? Huh?
The whole dating side of it. My head was in the gutter too. I just didn't.
Oh man.
Stock turbo. So yes, stock turbo.
Stock turbo, ethanol.
Yeah.
So if I have that, let's put it this way. I have made 439 wheel horsepower on a heartbreaker dyno on stock turbo with a Honda FSU. I'm going to go ethanol.
Okay. Yeah, he says he'll be doing the 660 shortly. You're going to love that.
So.
RV6 R660. The turbo's a ripper, man. It really is.
Yeah, buddy. All right, guys. Well, it's definitely, meth is superior when bought in drums. Ethanol content is touch and go at the pump. Yes, I agree with Thomas. It is. It's touch and go at the pump, but if you've got a good source, then, the other way around. Okay. All right, fella. You won't be. Yeah.
No, you will not.
Yeah, it's a nice ripper. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. All the support, the sharing, trying to work together. That's what I'm after, man. That's what we should really be doing. We should be working together. I really just want to move forward and pretend that stuff never existed in the past. So we're gonna try to do that. So, thank you for tuning in, man. And guys, throw me random messages about topics. It's getting hard to pick them.
Yeah,
That's how I want to feel, man. I'm like, well, who was that?
Yeah.
I just want to feel that way, man. Because I just get tired of messages about how I'm getting thrown under the bus for something that didn't exist. That's getting kind of very tiring. It gets old, man.
John does no wrong. I'm gonna tell you guys right
now.
Oh
no, I've made mistakes.
Yeah,
but I don't wrong people like that.
Right.
All right, guys. Oh, that's gonna be nasty.
Yeah, TR2's on a 660 because I got 2000s on a 660
All right,
and E50,
well.
and it's nuts.
All right, guys. Yeah, they'll find out. All right, gentlemen. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see y'all next week. Message me if you guys think that this is better on Saturdays. Please, let me know. Do you guys prefer Saturdays or Thursdays? But just message. So, because I'm shutting it down tonight. Talk to y'all next week, man. Thank you so much again. You guys have a great rest of your weekend.